Oh, hello, my wonderful video breast, want to be a breast, because I want to be a man nation. And I believe it's that time. It's that place. Maverick and Renegade Gaming. And well, with my Bendy plushie, I believe you know what time it is. That's right. Finally, Chapter 2. Of Bendy and the siblings of ink and horror. Bleh. Yes. Maverick and Renegade Gaming, and here we are. Basically, we are with Chapter 2 of Bendy and the basically Bendy and the siblings of ink and horror. I believe Chapter 1 was now. I don't really know what Chapter 1 was called. What I called Chapter 1, or do I? Oh yeah, Three Musketeers. Just now remembered that. And well, the name of Chapter 2 is actually a play on, well, the song that plays, well, not only at the beginning of the game, well, also on the title screen, but also basically, title screen, basically the title screen music. It's a play on the title screen music. What the name of the song is. The name of the second chapter, The Lost World. is, well, the moment the second chapter is started, it seems that, well, it's a little cassette tape that Corazon seems to have in his hand. You seem to be in a car with Bendy, Corazon, and DSM, basically meaning that, well, you are playing as Audrey at the start of Chapter 2. This is basically what you hear at the title screen. This is also what's on the cassette tape. That happens in the beginning of Chapter 2. Because this is what Corazon is listening to. On the cassette tape. Corazon, I told you, I've heard that enough times to have it stuck to memory. Besides, we're already here. Got back from shopping. Audrey, odd that you fell asleep and, Bendy next to you while I was shopping with Corazon. Of course, he had to be hidden, but I think that would be obvious. By now. Anyways. Now, time for the piece de resistance. I'm sure all wondering, what's so different about my ink than Joey's ink? Well, these are studios. That is. Well, allow me to show you. Now, if you remember that carefully protected section, now, well, you can go and basically, oh look, there's that little latch. That allows you to go into the underground section. And however, DSM seems to close the latch once you guys go down. And I mean all of you guys. Even himself. Gotta make sure nobody finds this. That's also why I closed the garage door. And the fenced-in area. Don't need anybody finding out about this. Except for the ones I trust the most. Alrighty, some things. Well, you're going to realize you basically walk into looks like what seems to be a lobby area. Yes, a literal lobby area. But the pipes, yes, there are actual pipes. Two different kinds of pipes. Black ones and white ones. DSM calls the white stuff something called After All. It's supposed to help make sure that the black pipes don't burst. And if there's any sort of irregular instance of some sort, of any sort, with black, instead of bursting, if there's anything else, basically the After All will help deal with that. That's why the white pipes are there. They seem to be a substance that, really doesn't, ever burst. It just really seems to be a very fast cleaning itself liquid. It's like self-maintenance. And, DSM goes on to explain, basically, that, these kind of pipes are all over the place. And so are the cogs and gears. Always need to make sure this place is up and running. And not only like pipes and cogs and gears, but even lights. The first big, assignment or task you have to do, really, is go to several of the many rooms and help reorganize either the pipes, the cogs and gears, or the lights. Actually, all three of those things. But in which order you have to do can, depend. It's basically RNG. You can do one first or one later. All depends on a bunch of RNG. It's not really specified. Because while the white liquid, the After All, does help making sure that, the black ink, doesn't, blow a gasket or do anything else bad, there's still gonna be maintenance need to be made or done. And this is where your abilities will come in handy. actually, you will get something for doing all this. All this, which seems like just random fetch questy stuff. Fetch questy stuff. You will get something for this. And that is, well, a new ability. And may I remind you, playing as Audrey, currently. At the end of this, at the end of all your trials, you will get a new ability. Op Sensor. Op short for opponent. And sensor, you will sense your opponents coming at you. Swiggity swooty coming for that booty. They come for that booty. You will know if they're coming for that booty. So you will be able to get out of dodge. Really fast. Faster than usual. If you didn't have it. So Op Sensor is another thing that saves your life. So, yeah. This is basically going to be like if the fetch questiness of Bendy and Ink Machine mixed with a more Metroidvania, like Metroidvania, Metroidvania style, play style of Dark Revival. Basically mixing the two playstyles together. So, in this first part of Chapter 2, you have something really fetch questy. Fetch questy. But, the fetch quests never, really don't serve a purpose. They serve a purpose. Not only is everything fully freaking repaired, thank God, so that everything doesn't blow a gasket, and well, guess what? You get a reward. That being basically being able to tell whenever someone's coming for that booty. However, Audrey is the one that did that quest, so Audrey has the Op Sensor ability. Nobody else. Well, technically, DSM gets every ability that everybody else has, because that's kind of his thing. So, if someone has a certain ability, he will have that ability as well. So, technically, that's wrong. He does. But Bendy does not. Bendy deals with nuisance in another different way. Because, well, basically, once, the lobby and basically the different valves and doorways and hallways basically out of there, except for the north one. The north one, well, there was no problem in the north one. Only in the west and south. West and east. Because the south is the freaking doorway into the freaking studio. The north doesn't have one, but the west and east do. That's basically why you had to go there. To do your fetch questy things. But, hey. You got an ability out of it. Op sensor. Now you basically know where all your ops are at any given time. And so, you can kill their ass beforehand or run freaking, get out of dodge beforehand. Especially if it's an unkillable enemy. Or a boss that you're not ready to face. Or even a pseudo-boss that you're not ready to face. Though, some pseudo-bosses can lock you in the fight. So basically, you'll have to die before you can get out of the fight. Because you'll be locked in. Because some pseudo-bosses do that to you. But that's on accident. I swear to God, that's on accident. It's like a Fran thing. It's like, basically the penalty box. If you get stuck in that penalty box for a certain amount of time, and, the boss sees you, the pseudo-boss, yeah, you're gonna be stuck there. And you're gonna be fucked. Royally. Fucked. In the ass. So, yeah. Be smart with using your abilities, is what I'm saying. So, now, basically, since the northern, different passageways have been mostly cleared up with most of the things that can be seeable right away, northern and western ones. I mean, western and eastern ones. The west and the east ones. However, going north, you'll find that you got a lot more. Possibly more than Audrey herself can handle. Might have to go to a little bit more of a discreet manner. Possibly become the ink. And you know how we become the ink. By being Baby Bendy. Yes, this section has you be Baby Bendy. In order to basically navigate the fuck out of this part of the left fucking chapter. Because the only way to navigate this part of the chapter is to be Baby Bendy. Or if you are DSM during this, you're basically cheating. Plus there is a level clip, so Yeah, it's the same thing with like teleporting. Like if you clip a certain area, like you're gonna be confused. And remember, the only like critical damaging attack that DSM has right now is Spattering Spear. I wouldn't call it an attack, it's more like an ability, because, that's what they're called, abilities, not attacks. Well, he attacks with that ability, but, that's why it's called an ability. So basically, yeah, you're gonna be Baby Bendy. And what's also going to be noticeable is that the North Wing is so much worse. Like it's drenched in ink. And God knows what else. So you're going to have to dive down and find like some sort of ink valve and well, a notification is gonna pop up. Find the 5 ink valves, and you're going to need to 5 ink valves. Once you find all 5 ink valves, another notification is going to pop up. There's a secret 6th ink valve. Wonder what it's all about. And if you actually are enough of a curious George to actually, access the 6th ink valve, well, you'll get a reward. A big reward. Because the 5 valves will just have you progress in the story. But all 6 will give you a reward. The same reward Audrey got. A new ability. Now what I'm going to do is look through abilities so far. for, well, extra initiative, the secret sixth valve, by accessing it, everybody will be so excited, like Audrey, DSM. Not DSM, really. Oh, he'd be less excited. But Audrey and Corazon would be really excited, being like, didn't know like there was a sixth one there. So basically, your entire task was to just freaking find ink valves and like turn them on, because they were stuck. But the problem with that is turning the ink valves on means you turn the ink on, and turning the ink on turns the after all on, because both have to be on, because the after all needs to, well, manage the ink in order to keep it from, you know, a lot of things going wrong. So, basically, the new ability is called Ink Brush. And so, automatically, a blob of ink just pops out of nowhere and turns into an ink brush. More correctly, actually, something spawns out of the blob of ink, because it was huge. Like something was actually encased within it, and it was the ink brush itself. And it seems that encased within that giant ink blob was the brush, the ink that the brush uses. It's not regular black ink. Or at least it can use black ink, but it seems that it can also use golden ink. Golden ink. But it seems to be locked for now. It seems that you can only use black ink for now. And it drains your ink supply. Yeah, there are special character traits that each character has. There's the trait that Audrey has that, well, hers seems to be more hidden. It's like she does have one, but it's more of a hidden trait than the others. Bendy's trait seems to be ink. Revolves a lot around ink. And DSM's revolves a lot around power. What he can do with that power. Whatever power he chooses to use, that is. For the moment, it seems something called the Spiraling Spear. And these clone-like abilities. So, yeah. A lot of that, just a gauge. Like, DSM's gauge is power. It says power. Or like it's an abbreviation of the word power. And Bendy's is an abbreviation of the word ink. So I and P. So basically, DSM's would be P, the P gauge, and these would be the I gauge, because I, the first letter of ink. However much ink he has. However, he can also, strain himself. But by doing this, he basically influences himself, with demonic power. And with this demonic power basically taking control away from the player, and basically making Bendy act on his own, away from the control of the player. And shortly after this, he'll just cave on it unconsciously. Because he can't take it. Because that's something that DSM actually mentions. Bendy had actually put limiters on himself to make sure that his power didn't destroy all of reality. Because considering that the two of them are exactly extremely strong, actually really strong. So if both of them were to unleash their full strength at the max, they would probably do some really bad damage. But it seems they've got some really big freaking either hindrance or just plain old freaking God knows what. From Bendy, basically the limiters and the fact that he doesn't really like the demonic influence constantly going throughout his body whenever he does that. And DSM will just refuse to go beyond his limits. He would just be like, no. Just refuses. Straight up refuses. But Audrey has nothing really special about her, except for her little ink things on her hands. Though she has those. But they don't really have, like, too much of a meter. They have something, but it's not really, how much. It's just like how much before she needs to switch to another hand before it's gonna hurt her. Because, the power does hurt if you use it too much. So, Audrey's just made the solution of using it in one hand. And so, the gauge is like a double gauge. So, basically one hand, and then whenever the gauge is, like, empty on that, like, use the other hand. And then when the gauge is empty on that, just stop using. And just kind of creep around, just not, engage, like, any enemy. Until your gauge is full back. And how do they get their gauges full? Well, simple. Bendy is basically through the death of his enemies. They're all ink, basically. So, he can take their ink. And basically fill, like, his ink gauge with their ink. And all Audrey's hand gauges are, well, she just has to wait. That's her thing. She just has to wait. Play the waiting game. And be pretty vulnerable while she's doing it. Pretty vulnerable. And DSM, well, it doesn't really have one, but, whatever. Have I talked about Bendy's thing yet? What ink brush basically does? Well, that's basically the northern passageway, basically. Has basically been, all the ink valves, basically, all that opened. The pipes are boom, 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 boom. And DSN is just like, fuck. Oh, shit. Corazon, please, peace out for a minute. I'm sure you know where sticks and stones are. It's like Corazon nods and just pieces out, just goes in another direction that they don't know, like Audrey and Bendy don't know. And DSM is just like, Corazon just to find his friends. And well, do whatever with them. Right now it's us. And well, considering that you opened the ink and let all of it out, that means all the after all is out as well. Which means, fuck. We need to we'll go over to a specific room. Let's keep on going north. And this time you'll be put back into control of Audrey. And keep on going north, just like I said. And basically, I'll find a room marked the ink machine. Only you'll see nothing but a dark abyss. Just like with Joey. Some chains will bring up a giant machine. And basically, DSM will be like, fuck. And Bendy will leap at the damn thing, trying to destroy it. And basically, DSM will get in the way, knocking Bendy backwards, sending him toppling to the ground. However, this will basically make DSM fall into the machine. And Bendy would just be like, as much as I hate to say this, pull a lever, it's the only way I'll come out. Audrey. And Audrey just pulls a lever, and basically, DSM does come out. Albeit not in the best shape, but he does come out. What the fuck? And Bendy just being like, what the fuck, man? What were you thinking? I was about to destroy that thing once and for all. And then just be like, yeah, you're about to do something stupid. And the shape that both of us are in, neither of us are ready to take on that machine. The machine. Neither of us are ready to take on the machine. The state we are in now. As much as it pains me to say this, we'll need Audrey's help. And the good thing that Audrey was not there while he was basically telling Bendy this, because he wasn't very quiet about it. The fact that he is displeased that he needs Audrey's help in order to defeat the machine with Bendy, his bro. But then again, wasn't exactly happy that, brother and sister with Audrey knew thing, blah. Or was that Bendy? Either way, they aren't very happy about it. Neither are more very happy about the fact that Audrey was very much like this whole revelation about Audrey being, whatever. Audrey drew about Joey having another child. Audrey drew. And the whole Wilson thing made it even more displeased. Like, whenever Bendy told him about everything to deal with Wilson, freaking DSM, like, basically, DSM was pissed. And DSM.exe, well, he hasn't been seen for a very long time. Wonder why. And DSM basically realizes he didn't think out loud. And basically Bendy is like, dude, you need to stop thinking out loud. It is really not helping you in the end. Well, man, you do it too. Whenever Audrey does come back, though, I mean, she is back and, well, basically, we're ready to march forward. Because the ink machine has just been activated, and a bunch of places apparently have just now been opened. Because Audrey had just seen that happen right before her very eyes. A bunch of places open up. To the north, south, and west. I mean, not south. East and west is what I meant. So yeah, very Metroidvania. Because you can go east, west, or freaking north. Either way. You could go south to find shit that you haven't found before. Like, if there's stuff around there that you wanted to find. You could do that. For a Metroidvania. Well, if you were to go east, well, in a style of Bendy, I think in every freaking Bendy game there are these tapes. Even in the Dark Revival, I think that these tapes are still around. But there's another worker. Tammy Baker. Tammy Baker. And the DSM is just be like, Tammy. Oh, poor Tammy. And Tammy is just like, oh my god. Those studios. Well, somebody has to write those old songs anyways. And the whole freaking tape is just her complaining about writing the songs for the freaking studio. But the next one we find, we go through the 8 swing if you were to do that, is basically, he comes to me, yes he does. He comes to me indeed. He comes to me. I long for his touch. My Lord, have mercy on me. Can I get a name, man? And Bendy and Audrey go to ask the $1 million question. And Jason is basically like, actually, no, I killed her. I killed her in cold blood. Before she could transform completely, I killed her. Before the transformation could become complete, I killed her. She was rambling on about it. Rambling on about how Savior and everything. Yeah. She was a loon. And nothing was going to save her. No matter what I did or what I tried, nothing was going to save Tammy. Now, can we go somewhere that isn't depressing as fuck? And so, whenever we try to head back for the West Wing, we get attacked. Only by the equivalent of searches on speed. Because these are a lot faster. And, well, they seem to be armored. Because they are a lot harder to kill. So, not only are they faster, but they're harder to kill. So even your abilities are going to be hard to pull off, considering who you're playing as. Considering the parts that are, armored and the parts that are not. Of these armored speed searchers. There's like almost a part on the wall that is written in ink that says, we call them crocodile. Or at least the crocodilian. We call them the crocodilian. And so these armored searchers on speed are basically known as the crocodilian. That's basically what they are. So the crocodilian basically are the new searchers in this game. They're your new basic enemy. Yeah, this enemy, basically, they're really hard to kill, they're really fast, and they're really hard to hit with your abilities. Really fast, really hard to hit, really strong, really, well armored. Overall, just not a very easy enemy to defeat. Difficult, but still fair in the end enemy. Why I say fair in the end is because you can defeat them. Their weak point seems to be their face. So if you're playing as Audrey, you can just dispel them. If you get enough vantage point. If you get a fair vantage point, you can hit them with the spell, and they will pop. they will die. No matter how armored they are or how quick they are, if you manage to, at that right point in time, they will die. But they are not called searchers, they're called crocodilian. Because of the way that they look now. That basically, they have been so messed up, so bad, that that's what they have turned into. The crocodilian. And I just like crocodiles more than alligators. Or caiman. I like them even more than caiman. But take that as a note. The crocodilian are your weakest enemy that you can fight. They're your ink searchers. They're your weak enemy. And they are hell to fight. So, take that as a basic. You are basically going to come across some hellish enemies before you even get to the boss fights. And hell, there was a pseudo boss fight in Chapter 1 that was just like, see how my path works, and if you can touch my path, well, you got good. It was just to see if you were good at the game at all. Good at strategy. And now that it knows you're good at strategy, it's going to throw you for a loop. Now you have to fight something that is openly going to want to kill you. There's no strategy, just death. Once we basically get to the west part, because the lobby is basically where you rest up, and basically recover everything, and basically switch characters if you want to switch characters. You get a choice, north or south, because we just went east, and we got our first taste of what our enemies, basic enemies, are going to be. The crocodilian. And they're hell. So, logically, we would go west. And so, we do. We head west. The player heads west because that's logically the idea. The west wing, we go. And we basically healed up, because that's basically what the lobby point is there for. To basically restore everything. and even check up on our abilities to make sure that we haven't forgotten anything. Andre has transmission, after image, ability scouter, and op sensor. Bendy has seal, summon, conjure, ink brush. DSM has transmission, after image, and spiraling spear. And I don't think I have really gotten into the mechanics of ink brush yet. Ink brush is basically a multi-purpose tool. As it could do multiple things. It could make pathways. It could make enemies for our enemies. As in, it can make basically things that will fight our enemies for us. And it can basically do a lot of things. Basically, what I will say is ink brush is a multi-purpose tool, though it is low on the branch whenever it comes to abilities still. It is very still on the low of the branch. Whenever coming up to what Bendy will be able to get later down the line, since we're still in chapter 2 of all places. 3. And we're not even finished with chapter 2, because we're just to the West Wing. We just got here. And well, getting to the West Wing, we are not greeted by a good sight. You know those ink people, and towards the end of the game, of Bendy and the Ink Machine, that were all sad and depressed. Some were even banging their heads against the wall, and some were even in the fetal position. Yeah. They're being eaten alive by the crocodilian in here. Yeah. Apparently, the only thing that the crocodilian are being fed is ink people. And DSM's like, this isn't right. This isn't right at all. This isn't what I wanted. This isn't at all what it's supposed to be. It's clogged with. This isn't supposed to be here at all. And basically, once the crocodilian noticed that, basically, that we're eating these ink people, they bum rush us. And so it's important that you pick the character that you're best as, because when you get bum rushed by the crocodilian, you get bum rushed hard in this case, because they do not like you in this case. And so you basically have to go on a crocodilian killing spree. And basically at the end of this, basically you have to realize that the ink people that you saved, well, you thought you saved, because they keel over and die instantly. Why? Because they basically died of shock. Whenever Audrey basically goes over and checks on them, and basically DSM goes over to check twice, make sure to if Audrey's check is true. Basically, yeah, it is. They died of shock seeing that happen. And so we basically, DSM basically admits that there is a part of the West Wing that, connects to the infirmary. So there is a part that we can basically drop these people in that will send them to the infirmary room and burn them into the basically, drop them and burn them alive. Actually, no, they're not alive. They're dead. Because they died of shock. And the other ones that are basically dead because they were being eaten by the crocodilian. They're now dead because we killed them. Or you as the hypothetical player, because there's a lot of hypotheticals in this, basically killed them. But basically without the crocodilian and the ink people in the left wing anymore, or at least this part of the left wing, because actually, in truth, DSM admits the right and left wing are actually a lot bigger than this. It's just that these are the beginning parts of the right and left wing. The beginning areas. And if they keep on going north, they would just keep on going into the north wing. That's what they basically call the northern area, the north wing. Because it's north of the lobby. just continues. Left wing. Pretty quiet. Uncannily quiet. Until you find a tape. Until you find another tape. This one by someone by the name of Scott Bernard. And actually there's a smile brought to DSM's face whenever he sees the name Scott Bernard. And he, just plays this. And it's like, yeah, there's someone, our boss. Yeah, he has to do crazy work, crazy hours. But, his old slogan, it keeps us working. It always keeps us working. But even whenever I work over hours, I come home over to me say, you have a wife and kids. Almost like he's trying to get me off the job. I'm not off the job. Oh, far from it. Far from off the job. I am far from off the job. Mr. Drew may want to put me out, but I am never out. It's like he always says. And then there's those eyes. Those eyes. It's like he's always trying to follow me. But oh no. But oh no. I still got it, Drew. Mr. Drew. And DSM would look confused, be like, Scott was never like that. He never raised his voice at me angry. And so everybody would be like, alarmed. Something is wrong here. I can tell something is wrong here. Wait, it's the end of the left wing. Okay, looks like we'll go back to... And on your way back, you run into more of the crocodilian. And the same strategy, and you should kill them pretty easily. Easily now that you know their pattern. Well, you should know their pattern better by now. Like, some of them, though, don't, like, follow a specific pattern. Some of them don't, but some of them do. To try to throw you off a little bit. But if you play long enough, you can kind of get the groove of it. And then, whenever you get back to the lobby, get everything back. But there's something there that wasn't there before. Was this a new ability? It doesn't. Well, this wasn't there before. Almost like. Wait a second. The knob to the left wing. Whenever opening it, it must have got something loose. And that's what got us the ability. A helping hand. We helped somebody, so it seems like we got ability for ourselves. His ability, Flash Freeze. Basically, whatever freaking, enemy you come across, as long as it's not any type of boss, you can basically freeze them. If it's a pseudo boss, you can only freeze them for a certain amount of time. But if it's a boss, you can't freeze them at all. Unless it's like an important core mechanic to the boss fight itself. Or one of them. In some cases. Remember, we have 8 chapters. This is a beefy one. Basically, you can just flash freeze, then spiraling spear, and basically, boom, dead. You can just spiraling spear to begin with, and then boom, dead. But with flash freeze, they have no way to escape. There is no way you can miss if you use flash freeze before spiraling spear. So basically, flash freeze, good for freaking stopping enemies. You can even flash freeze multiple enemies in their tracks, and then just boom chakalaka. So yeah, basically, after returning from the East and West Wings, we have to go north. And whenever heading to the North Wing, after, fighting some crocodilians, we automatically see something at what seems like a good point. Basically, a tape by Patty Shingleton's. That Mr. Drew, well, he's nothing like his father. That doesn't exactly make him a good person. If I were him, I would get out of Dodge. Because, well, you see, I was at him with a meeting once. To me, it seemed like a date, but, well, I don't think he's the kind of person who thinks of anything like a date. I don't even think he has a heart. That Mr. Drew. And, DSM would just look pissed off. Because whenever they say Mr. Drew, they're addressing him, not his father. Just the tape would go on as basically, I don't even think he has a heart. Anyways, about that. Something about an ink machine. I don't even think we need that much ink anyways. And I think a lot of people around here agree with me. He's just starting to become like his own pops. Rotten to the core. Patty Shingleton out. And then the tape would just end. And then DSM would just be like, Patty, I always knew her to be a too-timing little, but never to this level. I thought at least she had some loyalties. I would never do that. And have a heart? I built this studio from the ground up. And she says I don't have a heart? This entire studio was built by my heart and soul. And Bendy's trying to calm this and down, and even Audrey is just trying to calm the fuck down. And basically Audrey's like, Bendy, I think you should explore more of the North Wing while I find some way. Our brother. And Bendy gets it. Try to cheer him up. And so you are now in control of Bendy. As basically for the rest of this chapter, Bendy time, baby Bendy time. Though you're not really baby Bendy anymore, I just now freaking remembered that. You're basically brother Bendy. basically using a lot of your abilities to, a lot of the different pieces of the studio, fix some things to, get by and, find different, ways to get across, real Metroidvania. Even though it's different wings, like different directions, still giving you a little bit of that Metroidvania type, style of adventure. And basically, eventually you come across an area known as Corzone's Lost World. And then you hear that music again. As it starts to wind up.
When they're dehydrated, Pedialyte is great for... Wait, isn't that for the kids?
And then you hear the music. But then something really unexpected happens. A voice. So you're here too. I thought Corzone was the only tune here. The name sticks. But I can't have you in my amusement park, you see? Corzone and Stones are the only ones. Now that what's happened has happened. You hear? The name sticks. And you're about to die. And basically, the entire Lost World by Miyu, because it says Corzone's Lost World. There's literally an attraction called Corzone's Lost World. And literally coming out from that building is Styx, one of Corzone's best friends. But look, dude looks very worse for wear. And he's just like, and you can obviously tell. But this isn't just any music. Even how sad the music sounds, it's boss music. Yeah, that's right. Not pseudo boss, actual boss. As Bendy. You're fighting one of Corzone's friends. And he doesn't look like he's going to just spar with you. He looks like he wants to actually kill you. Well, that's what he said. And so, basically, a fight for your life. You use the tools that you've gotten so far to basically, like, as the notification pops up, basically telling you, fight to stay alive, but remember, this guy is a friend of Corazon. So, yeah, you can't kill him, but at least fight to stay alive. Like at least neutralize him somehow. Or at least wait until Audrey and DSM get there, if they even do. Or at least, like, fight him until, like, he's weak enough to, like pass out on his own. And that's just sad itself. Like, dude's, like, falling apart. Styx is falling apart. Yet he still stands to fight you, because he sees you as an intruder. In a place that belongs to that of Corazon and his friends Sticks and Stones. And he's one of them. He is Styx. And well, he is not exactly without, manpower. Yeah. He's got blades for arms. Basically, you know how, like, anybody watched Naruto or saw the freaking manga? Dosu, the guy with the gauntlet. Basically, instead of a gauntlet, freaking imagine a scythe blade. And, like, instead of just one arm, like the melody arm, 2 melody arms. But instead of melody arm, scythe. But one of them is bigger than the other. And the smaller one is kind of dangling a little. That kind of makes it very dangerous because, just like swing it. Like some of the attacks are like go straight forward with the bigger one. And some of the attacks are like just swinging around the smaller scythe because how it's dangling. But with the way that the limbs are, like, you can't even really do a straight freaking thing because of the way his arm is, like, with the bigger scythe. The momentum is kind of fucked. And so with the smaller scythe, basically whenever he's, doing this around, it kind of dishinges a little. And, goes in random directions, so that makes it even more fucking dangerous. So, whenever you think it's just gonna be a helicopter attack, no, it's gonna, like, freaking, like, all sorts of, like, bullet hell. Because there's, like, shrapnel coming off from, like, if it hits, like, a wall or it hits just, like, something. If it hits anything, it's probably gonna cause shrapnel damage. If it hits you. And that's not gonna be pretty. Just easily showing how well just Styx. I mean, dude, whatever happened to him? Just, the guy looks miserable. And so, just, Bendy is like, it's just like, he's like, I gotta do something. And then, well, basically, any smart person would realize that what you gotta do is, you basically gotta make him sleep. Like, not, like, kill him, but Sleep as in unconscious. And what's like an ability that could do that? A good old ability that could do that for him? That Bendy has? And his old utility belt? Summon. Because it summons weapons that you can basically use, and if you transform into the Ink Demon form, you're basically stronger, but you're not like exhausting your like own body. So this is like the perfect form for this boss fight. And if you use like summon right after that, you can, choose pipe, and that would be like the best way to do this. Just like turn into Ink Demon Bendy and then summon pipe, grab pipe, and beat the shit out of Sticks with it until he's unconscious. And basically, killing your enemies isn't the only way to beat them. You can make them unconscious, and, well, if they're unconscious long enough for, the cavalry to get there, like, that can count as a win. So technically, if you do this, and that's the best strategy for this, like if you want to be the good guy, if you want to still be considered the good guy, pacifist route, if you want to do that, then that's the best way to do that. It's just go in Ink Demon form, then summon pipe, and beat the shit out of Sticks until he's unconscious. And how you can tell if he's unconscious is basically he'll fall backwards, and he'll make this basically a sound like, if you're trying to start a car but it won't start. It's like the, but it's a very mumbly version of that. Basically, if he's making that sound through like whatever sort of mouth he has, that's the version, that's basically him, like, asleep. So basically, if you hear that coming from him, then that's your signal that he's, unconscious. And also, basically, his health bar will change color. That's also another indicator. Instead of, being black because, cartoon, it will turn to gray. Because, he's unconscious. Basically, two different indicators. The sound that comes out of him whenever he falls backwards, actually that's three different indicators. Falling backwards, making that sound in his mouth, out of his mouth, and the different color of his health bar. That the different color happens actually in between, like, him falling backwards and him starting to make the sound. That actually happens in between those two moments. And so basically, the moment that you actually do manage to beat, Sticks, if you're going pacifist route, which I will say, just like in Undertale, is best route, so, if you're just going for the best route, which is pacifist route, true pacifist, I will say true pacifist is the best route. So I believe that if you were going for the true best route, then you would go for true pacifist. Well, at least this game's version of that. Which is basically, turning into the Ink Demon version of Bendy, and then summoning the freaking pipe and bashing Styx' head in until he's unconscious. Long enough for the cavalry to come home. And that basically sealing the deal. And basically there will be like dialogue on the screen that actually says, "Congrats, you've gotten to River Styx." Because the old saying about River Styx, and his name is Styx, so basically, the whole thing on the screen saying, "Congrats, you've gotten to River Styx," basically telling you that, hey, congrats, you've basically beaten the boss fight in the best way possible. And then a notification basically telling you, hey, you just awesome boss fight. And seeing as the boss fight is over, and basically, seeing someone off in the distance, the person obviously being, well, if this person is Styx, then that person, whoever that person was, well, obviously they're stones. Because, if Corzone's, well, two friends are Styx and stones, then that's obviously stones. And obviously going to be our next boss fight. And basically, Corzone basically falls from the fucking ceiling. And, well, he has something. A bucket of water. He just splashes it on Styx. And basically Styx is like, what the fuck? He's like, because apparently these tunes are freaking, like, adamantium. Because, well, they're supposed to be ink, but just splashed water and all it did was wake him up. And basically, well, Corzone's like, these guys are okay. But, we might need further convincing, in order to get stones to realize that. Is basically what they're trying to, talk to each other about. And basically, Styx is basically, just decided, to basically, navigate us to where Stones probably is. And Audrey finally just, cracks and says, "Will you at least tell us the area?" And, well, DSM is just like having some sign language talk with Styx. And basically it's like, not really sign language, but tune language talk with Styx. And basically it's like, well, Styx said, the area... I don't remember this area being here, though. He's just like really huffing and like, I really don't remember this area being here, though. Being like, this. What Stone. He calls it the highway to hell. Styx calls it the highway to hell. It's where Stones probably is going to be. Or at least he's going to be somewhere in there. In that area. Which is further north. We just need to keep on going. And will you look at that? Not too far away from us. Does that look like a Happy Miracle station? But why would we need one of those? And another tape? Lawrence Fisher. Oh, not this motherfucker. Well, let's hear it, folks. Well, I don't understand why the boss is always gotta be like this. I mean, several times this year... Several times that this, after all, has caused a big mishap, a big show-up in the entire place. I don't get it. The whole corporate company smooths off. I know what he's doing. I know the big deals. I know. It's almost like the devil. It's almost like he's dealing with the devil. I tell ya. I know. The devil. I tell ya. Speaking right into his ear. Sweet nothings. Right into his ear. All the time. That's why he's having us do this. This damn dink machine. I tells you. This meeting I had with him one time. It's crazy what he'll do, what he's done. And they act like I'm the one who's lost my mind. I tell them... Several people... What's happened already? Mr. Drew, you are losing it. Heed my word, or we're gonna have some problems. That's basically the end of the thing. And basically DSM was just like, fuck, I knew that Fisher would be like that. But what does he mean by devil? Does he mean devil as in the literal sense? Or devil as in my brother? Never could really understand Lawrence. That is Lawrence Fisher. Well, already I'm not painted in such a positive light. But then again, after all, was never painted all that much of a positive light either after the incident with... You ever wonder why there was a sixth cog? It's because of the incident why there's a sixth cog. That's an emergency. That's the first one that'll be locked back up if there's ever anything that happens like that again. And Fisher's the reason why. I was finally tired of listening to his BS. So, I took measures into my own hands. And I just added another cog. Fisher didn't seem to be too happy, though. He just gave a look to me like, if that's the best that, he was going to get out of me, then that's just how things are going to be. And then, well, shit. You know, Audrey, I really did want to paint this in a light that this company was good, but now I see that you're not as blind as, well, I thought someone who, well, was created by Joey would be. And will led to believe such lies would be. Point is, I thought, considering you believed all of his bullshit, I thought, well, that if I spoke some words, even though I really hate the idea of lying to anyone, especially my own kin, that maybe the idea of seeing it firsthand wouldn't seem that non-appealing to you. I wanted to make the ink machine good. I honestly did. But now I see After everything, you really will hate me. And, well, I don't blame you. I hate myself too. And there's nothing that Bendy can do to stop me from hating myself. After every single fucking thing. After every single fucking word said. All of these tapes. However many we find. I'm a ruined man, Audrey. This entire thing ruined me more than I already was. I thought I had it good for just a little bit, but then it all crashed down. It was just that one job. That one single, solitary thing. But, no. That's for later. Whenever you actually truly do understand the entire scope of this entire thing. Audrey. Looks like the gates are open. Well, enough. Ugh, fuck. Sure hurts to open them. Well, there's a sign. Highway to hell. Well, is it okay if we say hello? And that would be the one that this chapter ends on. Deuces.